Audi's cooking up an all-new RS6 that's going to be even faster and much more powerful than today's car. And in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it and show you exclusive images of what this new super wagon could look like. Because I'm Matt Watson and you're watching Car Wow, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on. That way you won't miss a single upload.
Buy, sell,
Car Wow.
Audi has confirmed it will only launch new electric cars from 2026. That sounds like a problem for this guy. His name is Dr. Sebastian Grams and is the head of Audi Sport, so he makes all the decisions about new S and RS models. He loves a fast estate car, so he does. After all, Audi has just revealed new performance versions of the RS6 and the RS7, which get an extra 30 horsepower and 50 Newton meters of torque compared with the normal cars. But these new special editions are really just a blaze of glory for the RS6 and the RS7. Why? Well, Sebastian Grams has already confirmed that his RS team will follow the same strategy as the main Audi business for future projects. And the main Audi business is going electric. That means there'll be no more naturally aspirated V10s for the R8 and no more twin turbo 4-litre V8s for the RS6. So, is this the end of fast Audi RS cars? Well, no, of course it's not. They're not going to give up on them, not just yet. Look at the Audi RS e-tron GT. That's fast. It's electric. Anyhow, the RS e-tron GT is Audi's first ever mass-produced electric performance car, and it's one of the quickest cars the brand has ever made. It's even faster than an R8 in a drag race. Don't believe me? Click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below to watch my drag race between those two cars. So, if you can beat an R8 in a drag race, imagine what the next generation of electric RS cars will be like. Cars like the RS6 e-tron, for example. Well, you don't have to imagine because I'm going to tell you. But before we get to that, I have to talk a little bit about Porsche. Not because I'm a Porsche fanboy. It's because Porsche and Audi have been working on an all-new project together. They've already shared some mechanical bits in other cars. Take the 4-litre twin-turbo V8 in the RS6, for example. It's the same basic engine you get in V8 versions of the Porsche Panamera and the Cayenne. And if you strip all the bodywork off an Audi RS e-tron GT, you end up with the same basic components as a Porsche Taycan GTS. They both have an 84 kilowatt-hour battery and the same electric motors that make 598 horsepower. This is because they're made using the same basic chassis. Porsche and Audi call this the J1 platform. This is a pretty clever bit of kit, and it's easy to see how Audi could just build an estate version of the RS e-tron GT and call it the new RS6. After all, Porsche already makes a Taycan Sport Turismo, and that's a very fast estate version of the standard Taycan. But that's not going to happen. Audi and Porsche are going to phase out the J1 platform and replace it with something completely new. It's called the PPE, but has nothing about protecting you from COVID. It actually stands for Premium Platform Electric. In fact, Porsche is already testing a new electric Macan that uses this PPE chassis. This should be revealed next year and go on sale soon after. But this new technology isn't just for SUVs like the electric Macan. Audi will use it to build a new A6 e-tron. That's a forthcoming electric car that'll probably go on sale alongside the normal petrol and diesel powered A6. I reckon this is the most exciting new Audi coming soon because it could form the base for the fastest and the most powerful Audi RS car ever. Yes, I'm talking about the new RS6 e-tron. Let's cut to the chase though. What will this new car look like? Well, here's what the new estate version of the standard A6 e-tron will look like. This isn't a finished production car, it's an official concept. But Audi says it's very close to the design of the A6 Avant e-tron production car. So if you give that car some flared arches, a more aggressive front end, some larger wheels and lower the suspension, you end up with this. I reckon this is more or less what the next generation RS6 will look like. But what about the performance? Well, the whole point of the new PPE platform is to improve the e-tron GT's technology. This official presentation from Audi shows these new cars will get a bigger range of batteries than today's e-tron GT. They'll also have the ability to charge faster and have longer ranges. What does this mean for the A6 e-tron? Well, these upgrades mean it should be more powerful than today's A6 with its range of petrol, diesel and hybrid engines. And this new modular PPE platform will make it much easier for Audi to make a high-performance version of the A6 e-tron. All you do is fit a bigger motor, which is a lot less hassle than engineering a new twin-turbo V8 engine or designing a complicated hybrid system. You know, like the one Mercedes made for the new AMG C63 and S63. How much performance are we talking about now? Do you remember the new electric Macan I showed you earlier? Well, this car will use the same PPE chassis as the Audi, and Porsche has recently suggested it will come with around 600 horsepower. It's the same as you get in a standard RS6. But that's not all. Audi has confirmed that the new PPE cars, like the next generation A6, will be capable of making as much power as a Taycan Turbo S does today. That car has 2 electric motors with a combined output of 761 horsepower and 1050 newton meters of torque. That's 131 horsepower more than you get with the new performance versions of the RS6 and the RS7. But that's not the best bit. This new platform can cope with a lot more torque than today's specification Taycan. Porsche has reportedly said that the new Macan EV will have around 1000 newton meters of torque. That's almost double what you get in the Macan GTS. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Audi hasn't confirmed any specific figures yet, but check out this graph from an official Audi presentation, and it appears to show these new cars could have a few hundred newton meters of torque more than cars like the Taycan Turbo S that use the older J1 platform. So this suggests that future high-performance Audi RS cars could be capable of producing around 1,200 newton meters of torque. That's 370 newton meters more than you get in the top specification RS e-tron GT. It's also 350 newton meters more than you get in the new Audi RS6 Performance. And torque is just as important as power when you're aiming for really rapid 0 to 60 times. So how quick will this new car be? Well, the next generation RS6 will be heavier than the current one if it goes to electric power because of batteries. And because it'll be an estate car, it'll probably weigh more than the RS e-tron GT. That's a low-slung 4-door coupe, but it still weighs in at 2.3 tons. If Audi maxes out the capacity of the PPE platform, then the new RS6 could have more power and a lot more torque than that car. So it could be much quicker despite the extra weight. The RS e-tron GT is supposed to do 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.3 seconds, but I've timed one and it did it in 3 seconds dead. We could be looking at a future RS6 that could do 0 to 60 miles an hour in under 3 seconds. That's about half a second quicker than the current RS6 and RS7 will do. And it's a few tenths of a second quicker than the limited edition performance models can manage. But how will this new EV compare to cars from Mercedes and BMW? I'm talking about the brand new EQE53 and the next generation of BMW M5. Well, the MG EQE53 has 2 motors producing a combined 687 horsepower and 1000 newton meters of torque. That car will do 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. That's impressive, but it's no quicker than today's RS e-tron GT. But the next BMW M5 is shaping up to be a much bigger problem for Audi. BMW is already testing prototypes of the M5 Saloon, and the finished car should arrive in 2023 or 2024. It'll be a very different performance car from the RS6 and the AMG EQE53 though, because the next M5 is going to be a hybrid. It'll probably use a very similar hybrid system to the new XM SUV. Now, say what you like about that car's design, there's no denying that the XM is shaping up to be a serious piece of kit. Top specification red label versions have a 4.4 litre twin-turbo V8 with 585 horsepower, and there's an electric motor mounted to the gearbox that adds another 197 horsepower. This gives you a total of 748 horsepower and 1000 newton meters of torque, which is a lot. But then the XM is very heavy. It weighs 2.7 tons. BMW hasn't quoted a 0 to 60 time for the red label version yet, but it should be quicker than the standard XM, which does 0 to 60 miles an hour in 4.3 seconds. But you can bet the next M5 will be lighter than both of these cars, and it could have a bit more power too. So it could be capable of doing 0 to 60 miles an hour in close to 3 seconds flat. However, I've actually been quicker to 60 than 3 seconds in the current BMW M5 CS. Anyhow, that's not all. BMW's M-boss, Frank van Meel, recently hinted that BMW might be working on the new M5 Touring. It hasn't built an M5 Touring since the V10-powered E61, and that went off sale in 2010. So it's possible that BMW is gunning for the Audi RS6 Avant in a big way. But how much are these next-generation estate cars going to cost? Well, an entry-level Audi RS6 will set you back almost £100,000. And the new Mercedes-AMG EQE53 is almost £115,000. And you can't even get an estate or shooting brake version of that car. BMW hasn't said anything about the new M5 yet because it's still a few years away. But if it ends up using parts from the XM, then it won't be cheap. That car costs more than £145,000, and that's for the entry-level version with only 653 horsepower. But which one of these next-generation cars are you looking forward to most? Now, I'll put a pinned comment below so you can have a vote whether you're more excited about a fully electric Audi RS6 or a hybrid M5 Touring.